In this week's episode of GarageBand Weekly, we're going to be taking a look at iPadOS 16.1.1. What have they fixed? Is it worth you finally updating? A mastering app that has had its final touch. Yes, we'll discuss that. And Black Friday, Cyber Monday, did you buy anything? Is it worth it? Are you going to buy something still? Because there's a little bit of time. Depending when you're watching this, there's still a little bit of time left to do that. All that in a bucket of fish here on GarageBand Weekly. We are brought to you today by the GarageBand FAQ. Yeah, if you jump on over here to studiolivetoday.com/GarageBand, you'll see that we've got all of the details you need. You can grab my beginner's course for just $10 bucks. You can also check out all of the playlists to start out with GarageBand, and then we go through everything from 24-bit audio through AUV3 automation, downloading, FX, guitars, importing. If you want to know it about GarageBand and it's not here, I don't know where it is. So go and check out the GarageBand FAQ if you'd like to support the show. Let's say good day to the fine folks. We're here live, and then we'll dive on into those news and notes that I know you're all waiting for. G'day, Joe. I'm Barry Glenn. We've got Fat Panda Cat. Thank you, Thomas Christ. Yes, you can check out the GarageBand FAQ. Hello, Rena. Rena here. Pete here. How you doing? Guzzo of Oz, hello to you. G'day to SM Scott Borthwick. I hope you are doing well as well. And Princess LDG. If I missed you, doesn't mean I don't love you. It just means that there's too many folks to say goodbye. To say goodbye? See? To say hello to all of you. Did I mention I've been a little unwell lately? Still getting my stuff back together. If you do have a question, we're going to cover some Q&A here on the show. I've got a few questions that have come in during the week that we'll be discussing as well. But if you have any live questions and you're here live, just throw a big Q in front of your comment and I'll try and answer as many of those as I can. And if you're on the replay, just drop your question in the comments. Because again, I'm still here in isolation for another day, so I have plenty of time to answer your comments. So I will be getting back to you pretty quickly. Let's start talking about the news and notes, shall we? So iPadOS 16.1.1 is the latest version that has just been released. So iOS and iPadOS are now both kind of tracking on the same sort of things. We've got iOS and iPadOS 16.1.1. There's nothing major in these ones. If you are still on 15.7, like I am on some of my devices, still not time to update for some reasons that we'll tell you about in a moment, if you want to sort of remain completely conservative. But if you're already on 16 or 16.1, just update to this. You've got a few additional security updates and you've got a few little bug fixes, as you can see. Nothing particularly interesting there, but you can go and look through the notes of the update. But yeah, it is worthwhile for reasons I'll tell you in a moment. I've had a user that got kind of screwed over, for want of a better word, by the fact that iPadOS 16 had some bugs in there that have now been fixed. So go ahead and do that. Yeah, iPadOS. Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Did you buy anything? Let us know here in the chat or in the comments if you got some amazing deals. If there's still deals to go, shout out to my man Mars Capone. I had a link on my site here that didn't have a link on it, which is this one, these Ernie Ball Slinky. This is a cool thing. Like, even if you're not in the market for buying things like audio interfaces or microphones, unfortunately the AT2020 that was $59 on Amazon seems to have sold out, because when you go, oh no, hang on, what the heck? That's just changed. My goodness, it's $1 cheaper. What has gone on with that? All right, okay. So the $59 microphone is now $58. I swear I checked that an hour ago and it was out of stock. So they've found some under the couch and over at Amazon, and they're now going to sell it for $58. Who knew? So there you go. You can still grab that. I know Thomas Christ picked one up. I know a few other folks who picked up the amazing deal on the Audio-Technica AT2020. Let's check some of these other ones. Now I'm intrigued. Some of these are still available. The headphones, yeah, they seem to be sold out. They've gone back to their not showing the price there, which means they're usually sold out. The Zoom U22, I think, is still, yep, that's still a deal. So that's a great little mobile interface if you're just starting out recording on your iPhone or your iPad. The Zoom U22 has got the XLR and the TRS and the phantom power. That's a great little interface if you're starting out for sure. The PreSonus audio box, I think this one might have sold out. Yep, that one has indeed sold out as well. And this one, the ridiculousness that was the $19 TC Helicon Go Solo. Yeah, not surprisingly, that was a clearance item. So sorry, the TC Helicon Go Solo audio media interface for mobile devices is no longer available. We've left this page up for reference. So clearly they had a whole pile of them in the back of Sweetwater. They've now sold them all off. And hopefully many of you have actually picked one of these up and can let me know if they're any good. But you know what? If they are good, no one can buy them anymore. So you've got yourself a bargain. And then folks like us are going to have to shell out the $130 for the almost identical iRig Pro IO. So I'm really interested to see how that TC Helicon stands up against the iRig Pro IO, because it's very, very similar in terms of specifications. But the one final thing I wanted to say about Black Friday, Cyber Monday is don't just go out there and buy things that you don't need, but things like guitar strings, things like powered hubs, things like lightning cables, USB-C cables, Thunderbolt cables, guitar strings, XLR cables, instrument leads. There's still heaps of those that are on sale. I bet if I just type in here, Anchor Lightning, I bet you will still find some deals on some of these. Or maybe I'm going to, lie to myself. There you go, Cyber Monday deals. There's a heap of I don't know what Native Union are. I wouldn't potentially trust them. But yeah, if you come through here, you can find there's still a heap of these. I've been using like these little ones, the ones that have the nylon cables. They're pretty good. What have we got? The Anchor USB. Look at that. Anchor USB certified. So these are like the cables that cost you $39 to get the Apple genuine ones, the Lightning to USB-C. This one here, $11.19. So you get your 37% off on those. So don't miss out on that, because even if you're not in the market for buying, complete stuff, then pick up those little consumables. Even if you spend, $50, $100 on the stuff that you would have spent $150, $200 on in a couple of days' time, maybe stock up on some of that stuff. Guitar picks, you can often find deals on guitar picks too. If, like me, you lose all your guitar picks somehow. I don't know how that happens. We do have some questions. I'm going to tag these as we go along. And we'll get to those in a moment. So thank you. Joe says, no, not buying a thing. Yeah, and look, that's absolutely worth considering to not buy anything. I bought nothing. Actually, no, I bought some headphones for my daughter. Yeah, sitting here thinking about my GarageBand dilemmas, I can ask you back. Well, you asked a great question last week, which I'm actually going to include in my tip of the week this week, Rena. So that is all good. Leela apparently purchased the entire App Store. It is sold out now because Lena bought it all. There you go. Why isn't the LMC on sale? The LMC? Good question. What is the LMC? LMC? I don't know, because I can't think. Again, I've got cloudy, foggy COVID brain. So yeah, acronyms are probably not going to work with me today. You might have to spell things out for me. Are the mics good? So in terms of microphones, if you're over at the Gear Guide, so studiolivetoday.com/gear, I have my complete list of recommended microphones. So the AT2020 is great. And if you come down here, you'll see it's in my mobile and desktop setup here. So you can see here that I've got the AKG D5. This one is my go-to dynamic microphone, $115 there on Sweetwater. And I think it's also $115 on Amazon at the moment. Oh, $90. That's a good deal. Okay. So it's not on any sort of sale, but this is usually between $100 and $120. At the moment, it's a weird price of $90.05. So that is a great buy if you're looking for a high quality dynamic microphone, very similar to the Shure SM58, but the AKG D5 is the one I go with. And then down here in my desktop setup, I have this one here, the Audio-Technica AT2020, which you'd buy from, I think, Sweetwater. Oh, look, there you go there. Sweetwater have matched it. That's interesting, isn't it? So Sweetwater have actually matched the price of Amazon for Cyber Week. So if you don't like suckling at the Jeff Bezos teat, you can go over to Sweetwater if you prefer to buy from there and grab it there. Oh, and look, they've got a sale on the podcast package. What does this include? This includes your AT headphones, your boom mic, and the microphone for $129. Okay, that's a pretty good deal too. I probably wouldn't do this. I'd probably just buy separately because you can get the boom arm for about $12. Those headphones are not the best that you get in these kits, but you can get like the M30s for about $50 and that for about $50. So it's not actually a big saving on buying them individually, but yeah, there's some good deals to be had out there for sure. Yeah, they want that money. Everyone wants that money, don't they? Especially at the moment. Everyone wants the money. Vault 2. I've not used any of the Vault audio interfaces, to be very honest. Vaults, they're by Universal Audio, aren't they? I have not played around with them. I've had tried to reduce the amount of audio interfaces I've been buying and using lately, because I got to the point where I think I have about 7 these days, and it's just too many. If anything, I need to give away and sell some of the old ones. But yeah, the Vault 2 Universal Audio, apparently it's really good. But is it better enough than something like a Focusrite Scarlett or a Steinberg UR22? I don't know. I haven't played with it. People that have, so I think last time we were asked about this, I sent folks over to Sanjay C. I'm almost sure that he did that. Sanjay C. UA Vault, I think. Oh, not AU, but UA. Yeah, there you go. So he did a hands-on demo with the whole range. That was a year ago. There you go. And this is the one that's where he's done. I think that's the Vault 2 that he's playing around with on iOS for just 2 months ago. So do that. Sanjay C, you might want to go UA Vault. So I don't have all the answers, but I usually can direct you towards someone who does. That's my goal here, is not to answer the questions, but to handball the questions to someone else. Friggsy says not getting anything for Black Friday, but getting a studio monitor station. Can handle 3 sets of monitors at the press of a button at Christmas. That's cool. That is very cool. That's like pro level stuff where you can switch between different speakers. So you can have, a set of crappy speakers up there so you can hear what it's going to sound like on smaller speakers. You can have your big studio monitors, and yeah, you can have a third set of speakers. I don't know what your third one would be. A giant home theater system with subwoofer, maybe. Something like that. Alrighty. Hello, Bubba. I hope you are doing well. Thank you for dropping on by. Gregory said, I bought some more desktop stuff than apps. Steinberg Absolute 5 instrument collection for Cubase. 50% off. Worth it just to get Halion 6. Very cool. I like it. I like it indeed. There you go. Digging my new Audio Technica. Good. See, Bubba picked one up too. If Bubba and Thomas Christ both picked it up, then that's cool. So Thomas Christ bought the Effectrix for Macs, Waves Vocal Rider, and Chris Lord Algae Vocals, and Chris Lord Algae Effects for free. Nice. Also the AT2020 and a Samsung. Yeah, there's some good SSD prices at the moment as well, so you can check those out. Fat Panda Cat got the Waves freebie. It's very good. And to announce the new range of, But yeah, a lot of times they'll give away free plugins to give you to get you into the ecosystem, so you'll buy other stuff. It's something that Nembrini, who I'm going to show as our plugin of the week this week, that's something that they do really well, where they give you a heap of cool free plugins in the hope that you'll then go away and check out the rest of their plugins. So definitely worthwhile there. A question from Arena here. My question. My GarageBand version only says 2.3.12. I have an iPad Pro 12.9. Do you know, is this 15, 16, 2.3.12? So I think GarageBand is at, let's just check our version number of my GarageBand here. We are at 2.3.13, aren't we now? Oh, hang on. No, it's not there, is it? Your version, iOS needs to fix this, right? So your versions are not in the app, they're only in the settings for the app. So you've actually legitimately got to come here and go down and find the settings for GarageBand in your settings, and you've got a whole bunch of different settings here, which is just a pain in the butt. So 2.3.12, no, that seems to be the current version of GarageBand at the moment, I think. Or is it 2.3.13? Let me check my phone. Because guess what? You want to know a dirty little secret? I haven't updated my iPad from 15.7 yet, because I know that things like Final Touch are going to break, and I just want to have as much time as I can with my precious Final Touch. Oh, we've got that's it. Right, smoke alarm going off up there. My wife's here, so she'll sort that out. Let me just check what my GarageBand version is here on that 2.3.13. So it is 2.3.13. So it may be that like me, if you're on iOS 16, so yeah, if you're on your iPad Pro 12.9, you'll need to make sure that you update to iPadOS 16. 16.1.1 is the latest version, and then you'll be able to update to to GarageBand 2.3.13 doesn't have a whole lot different in it. You don't really have to spend too much time worrying about it because you can also get the pack. So the other reason I haven't updated from GarageBand from iPadOS 15 is that the new packs that came out, or the new pack, is available on the old version. So, and they're both compatible between the two. So 2.3.12 and 2.3.13 are cross-compatible. And Apple did that this time around because iPadOS 16 was out so much longer after iOS 16. So yeah, if you want the absolute latest, then yeah, just update to iPadOS 16.1.1 and you'll be good to go. No, it won't mess up anything. Logic was not on sale. Logic will probably never be on sale. Apple don't do sales. If you know one thing about Apple, it's that Apple don't do sales, for what it's worth. But no, you'll be absolutely fine. I know. Yeah, there must be some steamed hams going on, or is it just the Northern Lights? No, Seymour, it's just the Northern Lights. All right, that was a long time to spend on. Oh no, we answered questions too. We're still in the news and notes. We're nearly 20 minutes in. So, the bad news. So again, I just kind of alluded to it, but there are some apps that are just simply not being updated for iPadOS 16, and one of those is my favorite and go-to mastering app, which is Final Touch. So right here, I'm in Final Touch from Positive Grid, and it's working still. At least I think so. Let's hit play. Nope, nothing's happening. There we go. Let's drink a toast to all the. So that was the master, little quick master I did for the song I did with Tremor Bear a while ago. But yeah, so this is the last time that I'm going to be able to use this. So I'm just hanging out here on my iPad Pro in 15.7, giving a Final Touch a little last farewell before I say goodbye to it, which is sad. But yeah, so if you update to iPadOS 16, some of your older apps will not be able to work. And unfortunately, most of them are being updated. So most of them just didn't work in 16.0 and 16.1, and now they seem to be working. Final Touch, Positive Grid have come out and said Final Touch will not be supported in the future. And it's related to GarageBand because you would have seen that a lot of my GarageBand iOS projects, I use Final Touch. The reason I love Final Touch is, or I loved... have to start using the past tense. Loved Final Touch is especially for GarageBand tracks. You had really easy control over your input and your master output. So as you know, if you're a GarageBand iOS user, you have problems when you export because it does auto normalization, which can also result in auto limiting if your volume's too loud. So I've told you that 1,000 times. Don't have your volume too loud. But it made it really easy here because as long as you weren't clipping, so as long as you didn't have volume that went over 0 dB, it would just bring it up to 0. So all you had to do in Final Touch was grab this one and pull it down to like -10, and that gave you a heap of headroom to be able to play around with this. The good news is that there is a new potential champion. I haven't checked it out yet. I actually didn't get... I don't know if Cleveground usually reach out to me and offer me their apps, but I haven't got an offer of this one, so I've reached out to them just to say, can you give it to me? Because I want to check out Grand Finale 2 for you. And could I buy it? Of course I could, and I will. If they don't get back to me today, I'll just go buy it. But you know what? Economic recession. I'm suddenly thinking about... Normally I just go, $13.99. I'll just buy that. These days I'm like, yeah, if Cleveground want me to review it, then they might give me a copy. But this, by Jade's review and by all reviews that I've seen of Grand Finale 2, it is like Grand Finale 1, but much, much better. So it has all of the same things. It has the multi-band compressors, it has the EQ, it has the limiting, and it also gives you the ability to reduce that input gain. So I will be playing around with that and having a good look myself because I like to actually do that and spend some time with these apps myself before I finally recommend them. But I got a feeling that Cleveground are going to win this one. So there's also Audio Master Pro. You can also use things like eMastered or Lander there. And BandLab actually have a really good free mastering setup, but it only masters in 16 bits. So if you want a 24-bit master out of your GarageBand projects with a cool mastering app that's easy to use, I think Grand Finale 2 is going to be the way to go. Yes, and it does have LUFS metering too. Which the metering was okay in Final Touch, but I think the metering might be even better. Does Central Sax update? I haven't tried. Again, what I'll need to do is I'll finally, when I finally update to 16.1.1, which will probably be today, I'll probably just bite the bullet, then I'll actually go and check it out. Alrighty, yeah, and that answers Princess LDG's questions. Which mastering app will you use? It's probably going to be Grand Finale too. Grand Finale was okay, but I just thought the interface was quite clunky. It looks like they've improved the user interface in the new version, which is good. Now, if GarageBand would only update Visibel 2 with like video effects and cool stuff. If you haven't played with Visibel, it is a really cool app. I've showed it before here on the channel, but the problem is similar to Final Touch, is that they hadn't updated it for a really long time. They still haven't updated it for a really long time. So I've showed it here before. There it is, the Visualizer app. But as you can see there, the reason I haven't updated my video in 3 years is that I'm on the wrong screen. The reason I haven't updated my video in 3 years is that they haven't updated the app in 3 years. And I also realized that I didn't have the previous screen up here. I had my iPad screen up instead. There's Grand Finale too. That was what I was showing before that I wasn't actually showing. Did I tell you that brain's a bit foggy? Yeah. You're going to have to bear with me for another week or so, I think. We'll get back. Yes, does indeed need to be updated. Is Grand Finale comparable to Ozone at all? Huge price difference, I know. Yeah. Look, people that have used Isotope Ozone love it and swear by it and say it's the best thing since sliced bread. I haven't used it. I've seen people like Mike at Creative Source and other folks use it, and it looks amazing. It looks like it does great things, but it looks like it does amazing things because of the price tag. It's a bit like the Lursen mastering console. It's that next level up, and it's the difference between a Shure SM58 and a Shure SM7B. So yes, it's going to cost you 4 times as much. Does it give you 4 times as much value for a home studio producer? I'm not convinced. I'm not sure that that's it. Yeah, unfortunately, Positive Grid have just gone all in on the Spark. I think Jade said the same thing. So if you're not sure what the Spark is, the Spark amp, which is good, don't get me wrong. So if you go Positive Grid, and in fact, they're probably on sale. I'm sure they've got Cyber Monday deals. You can go and check them out right now. But the Positive Grid Smart Guitar amp is this one here. And yeah, it does indeed look like they've put all their eggs in that basket. But it's so weird because like they do good stuff, like Positive Grid with their like their amp sims and their obviously their physical amp there. But they've gone down the same path, I think, that I criticize a lot of creators for, which is that they're spending more time on the let's play around with some funky tones rather than let's get songs finished. Like the reason I love Final Touch is because it really was designed to help you finish songs. And I'm not seeing a lot of that focus from a lot of companies at the moment. They seem to be more focused on giving you these cool little toys and with all the bells and whistles to play with, and no one's focused on helping folks finish songs. And look, I know I'm biased when it comes to that because I just think it's so important, and so often people don't focus on finishing their songs. They just want to play with, and more power to you. You know, I keep saying this again and again. If you're an adult human and you just want to download all the apps and just play with them until the cows come home and never actually finish a song, and you're happy with that, go your hardest. I've got no issues with that whatsoever. But yeah, just if you're then going to complain, or if you're then going to come at other people for their music, then you need to have music finished yourself. Like don't come at me and tell me you don't like my latest song, and then when I ask you, oh yeah, where's your latest song? It's like, oh, I don't finish songs. I just go on forums and complain about other people's songs. That's my job. Yeah, right. All right, let's continue on because the news and notes keeps going, because that was going to be the news and notes here for today. But then Jade Starr came out of the woodwork and said, Johns, there's a cool new app. I don't know why that's her voice now. Johns, there's a cool new app. It's Superimpose V, which I think is V, not 5, because I think there's Superimpose X, which is like the photo app, which I've never played with, but looks kind of cool as well. It's like a $2.99 app. But this, for some reason, so I don't quite understand how this is the case, but this is free, and Jade just did a extended 2-hour show on this, and it's available on iPhone and iPad, which is the thing that got me, because if you know me and you know what I've been raving on about for a long time, it is an app called LumaFusion. And in fact, if you've watched a single tutorial video on this channel, you know, well, you don't, maybe you don't know, but you've been watching LumaFusion, because that's what I use here. There you go. There's me cutting together my happy hour show that I did on the weekend. I just downloaded all the YouTube videos and I cut them all together, and I did that using LumaFusion. So that's what I've been using for a good 3 years to do basically all my video editing. I realized I was paying $30 a month to Premiere Pro to edit on my PC when I could do all the same thing for a one-time $30 payment on my phone. So that's why I moved on from there. But it seems that there may be a contender. And the contender is Superimpose V. And it's free. And again, if you want to check out Jade's show, she just did 2 hours of it. I'm sure she's going to do a cut down short version of it so that you can see what's all about it. But yeah, it kind of looks ridiculous. Version 1.02 already, and Jade was saying that they've already started updating different things like the ability to add audio and do things. Not perfect because it's a free app, and it looks like the developer here is a bit of a one-man kind of show, which makes it even more impressive that Luma Touch, who are like a big business with tens of people on the project, and yet one dude can create something pretty darn cool. And as you can see there, there's a lot of options there that you actually have. Like you've got keyframing, you've got multi-track video editing, you've got transitions and different fades and things. So there's it's got some power there. So I'm going to be checking it out because why wouldn't I? Because it's free. So I'm going to go and download it and have a play because it looks like it. In fact, let's do that now. Let's go and find it. I did have a bit of trouble finding it on the App Store by just searching for it because there's lots of things called Superimpose. But let's see if we can be smart and find it. Probably not. Otherwise, I'll just have to send it across from there. So if we just type in Superimpose Video. Let's do Superimpose Video Editor. That might work better. Superimpose. Yes, this is the problem. You get all these. There it is. Okay, not too hard. Superimpose V, and we'll hit the Get button. So we'll download that and have a bit of a play with it later in the show, shall we? Is that going to require my password? I'll just hit the install button. It is. Can't I just use my... Am I not signed in? Oh, yeah. Don't you hate that when you do that and it's like, no, we need your password for reasons that we don't actually understand ourselves. And you're like, are you sure, Apple? Are you really sure? Don't you know my face? Don't you trust? Isn't this a face you could trust, Apple? No, apparently not. All right, though, we will download that one. It's only 88 megabytes. Very cool, indeed. Just V will work. All right, I should have searched. When I searched on my Mac and I searched App Store Superimpose V, it brought up some weird-ass photo editor that wasn't even the original photo editor. But if you put video editor in there, it will find it. All right, there's a few questions piling up here. We do have some, I've got a feature topic here today. We've got some rants to go through. Got a plug-in of the week, and we've got some tips. So I'm going to have a quick drink, and then we'll run through these questions first, because it is Q&A. That was the focus of the show. And if we don't get to other stuff, so be it. All right, we have answered Rena's question there, as well as BBS. I still don't know quite what LMC is. Sorry, Princess. Just want to make sure. If I click to Thomann via one of your links and buy the monitor station, will that work for you? Does that? Yes, it will. So great question. Thank you, Friggsy, for asking. If you do want to make sure that if you're using the gear guide and the affiliate links are working, and I'll get paid the affiliate revenue for referring you, here on the gear guide, so studiolivetoday.com/gear, say you wanted to buy that microphone for the ridiculous $58 now, all you need to do is click through that Amazon link. See, it's gone away again. What the heck is going on here? You saw it, right? You saw it that 20 minutes ago, it was there for $58. Are they just selling out and putting it back? And yeah, it just goes to show you need to jump in quick on these things. Maybe a bunch of you went and bought that and then you sold them all out again. Who knows? But yeah, the question here is these links down here. So if you're not actually shopping for specific stuff or you're down here shopping for this, if you just go through this link here, so for Friggsy, if he's going to buy from Thomann, if he clicks through to Thomann, that'll actually use my referral code. So it puts a little code at the end of that and it says here. And all you need to do is, unfortunately, you need to make sure you accept the cookies. So every page now has this whole thing. If you reject the cookies, it won't work. So the only thing you do need to do with Amazon or Sweetwater or Thomann is accept your cookies. You can go in and delete them afterwards, but it's not even letting me. Get off. Go away. What are you doing? It's not letting me continue. Okay, that's frustrating. I don't quite know what's going wrong there. Oh, there it goes. It's gone. So yeah, so then you can jump in here. And even if you don't buy any of the stuff that's here on my gear guide page on Thomann, because I've just put my most commonly bought items right up the front there, including my guitar, then yeah, if you come in here and search for something else and then you buy it through there, then yeah, as long as you've accepted that cookie, anything you buy within 24 hours will actually be credited back. So thank you for asking, and yeah, that really does help me out. So just to give you an idea, yeah, affiliate revenue is still around about 20% of my full-time income. So that's why around this time of the year, you're probably like, Johns won't shut up about his gear guide. Yeah, that's the reason why, because I need to pay the bills. I need to keep the lights on around here. So thank you very much for the support. This probably sounds lame, but I'm still learning mastering. I keep wanting to hear a bigger vocal sound. Will Grand Finale, etc., do that for my mastering? Yeah, kinda. So the vocal sound, getting a bigger vocal sound is usually more within your mixing. It's usually more making sure that you have the right compression settings and that you've EQ'd your vocal correctly. One moment. That's pretty good. 32 minutes on the first cough. That's a record for the last week in terms of recording my voice. But yeah, it's more about the mixing. But mastering can definitely do that. Mastering can give you that nice glue that will make the vocal, instead of sounding on top of the rest of your track, it can make it sound part of it. So multi-band compression in particular, and also a good limiter, can actually do that. It can glue it together, and you can hear the difference. If you do like A/B comparisons between your non-mastered and your mastered tracks, it can definitely help with that. So look for things like the multi-band compressor. Just play around with some presets to learn how it all works, and then just find out what works for you and what sounds best for you. But the number one thing I tell people about vocals is compression and even a little bit of distortion. Sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? But the problem with digital vocals, and I find this, it's on male vocals, but almost especially on female vocals, is that they sound too clear and thin. Especially if you're using, say, a large diaphragm condenser, you're getting this really clear, thin sound, which is really great if it's like a quiet ballad. But if you're really belting out a tune, you actually want a little bit more guts to that. So sometimes playing around with the EQ and even adding a little bit of distortion, just a couple of dBs of distortion, can actually help. It sounds weird, doesn't it? You don't want to distort your vocal, but you kind of do. You want to be able to have that little bit of gravel, like what I call just sort of rubbing it in the dirt a bit. Because back in the analog days, we did that. And the other thing you can use is something like a saturator plugin. So add some saturation or some tape saturation, some analog warmth, something like that. There's some good saturation plugins in the Mixbox pack, by the way. Mixbox MX, is it? The one that's about $40 that gives you all the different plugins. There's a cool tape saturator plugin there. Does Grand Finale work on M1 Mac? I don't believe so. Someone can correct me on that if it does, but I'm almost positive that Grand Finale doesn't work on the M1 Mac. Very few apps actually do, and I don't think Grand Finale does. Could I try it? Let's go to the App Store here live. I'll probably break something by trying this, but let's find out. Because usually when you get the App Store on a Mac, you can just search it and it'll say this is not available. So yeah, it definitely doesn't come up on there, but you can also go, you can filter. I'll bring it up here so you can see what I'm doing here. So when you're searching here, so no Mac app results found, showing iPad. Oh, so it's already showing the iPhone. So you can see here on your App Store, you can either search Mac apps or you can go to iPhone. So it doesn't look like it's showing up here. So whereas if you search something like that I know is available on the M1 Mac, like Luma Fusion, and yeah, so here if you go to Mac apps, nothing shows up here. But if you go to iPhone and iPad apps, there it is, and it's saying I need to update my Luma Fusion version on the Mac because I don't really use it much on the Mac. But yeah, I'm pretty sure, like if you search it here and it doesn't pop up, then it's almost positive that it's not there. And it's a bit sad. Like the original wish that I think we all had with the M1 Max when we heard that they would be supporting, or they would be able to support iPhone and iPad apps, is that they would just open it up and every app would be available. Like I was dreaming about being able to just have GarageBand iOS open on my Mac M1 and just displaying the screen. Turns out, no. Especially Apple will never do that. They will never make their iOS apps available on a non-iOS device like a Mac. Because money. Just like we talked about before, because money. Because they want to sell you an iPad and an iPhone. They don't want you to just use one to use one for both, which is why Apple don't have touchscreen laptops and why they'll never allow macOS to run on an iPad and never allow a full version of iPadOS to run on a Mac because they want you to have both. Why not have both, right? Yeah. All right. And it looks like other folks have given some good input here in there. So if you want a thicker vocal, you could add a very short delay. Yeah. That is a really good thing that you can do. A short slapback delay, doubled vocals, something I should have said before. The answer to most vocals is yes, saturation is good, saturation on vocals, but doubling a vocal kind of does not the same thing, but definitely does thicken them up. And if you've got a thin vocal, doing a vocal double and just sitting it, you don't want them both at the same level, but just sitting it at about 30% of that original vocal level, singing the exact same thing. And you can do the old trick, I don't love it, of just grabbing two vocals and then just shifting one, like manually moving a little bit later. It creates kind of that artificial delay and artificial thickness. I prefer to have a complete second track to do that. Alrighty. Yes. Plus the bottom would fall out of the desktop. Exactly. Spot on. If every app and plugin, like we know that the challenge at the moment is that a $9.99 plugin on iOS is $99.99. Like it's almost a 10x difference sometimes between plugins on Mac or PC and plugins on iOS. So if every I thought I was going to get through that sentence. It didn't work. But yeah, if everything was available on Mac, it would really affect the market. Hello, Crow on a Wire. 16.1.1 whacked my iPhone, but it eventually straightened itself out by itself. Okay, well, that's a good thing. And that's actually a fantastic segue into today's feature topic. Crow on a Wire, you've done well. So our feature topic today is troubleshooting GarageBand on your iPad or your iPhone. And some of these tips will actually go across to Mac. There's 5 things that I suggest before you do everything, before you do the complex stuff, before you go to Apple support, before you come and ask me. You can ask me, but I'll tell you these 5 things. These are the simple things. Number 1, turn it off and on. And this is called the universal fix for a reason, because it does just fix so many things. If you don't know how to turn off and on your iPad or your iPhone, usually it involves holding down a couple of buttons. Here on the iPhone, you just need to hold the volume up and the power button, and that'll pop up there, and you'll be able to just flick it, the power off, and then to turn it back on, just hold down the power button, and it'll come back on. The same on your iPad. You can just hold down the 2 buttons there, usually the power button and the volume up button, and hold those down, and you'll get the power off. Flick it off, wait a little while. I know, look, a lot of these stuff don't have moving parts. The wait a while was from the time where you had, spinning hard drives and you had fans and you had CPUs. You just let everything cool down. Even though these things don't heat up too much, I still like to use this advice. Just let everything cool down, because sometimes heat can be a really weird, wacky thing that causes problems. So let it cool down, give it 5 or 10 minutes if you can, or at least a couple of minutes, power it back on, and so many times, so often, things have been fixed. Audio not connecting can be fixed. An app not loading can be fixed. You'd be amazed at how many things can be fixed by the old universal fix of turn it off and on. I know it sounds stupid, but it works so many times. The other thing is to log in and out of your iCloud account. So if you're on an iPhone again or an iPad, if you go into your settings and you go to your iCloud settings, you can actually log in and out of your account. And this fixes things, especially like if you've got syncing issues. So if you've got problems, if you get like this file cannot be opened, this file cannot be found, this file is corrupt. If you've got those sort of issues, just logging out and back into your iCloud can work. So if you just go in, find your iCloud, you can just search for it and you'll see where you're logged into your iCloud. It's in the weird thing is you're logged in a bunch of places. So you're logged in your App Store. You're probably logged into like your wallet app. You're logged into a bunch of places. So just search iCloud and find where you're logged in. Sign out. So just sign out of that and then sign back in. So literally just go log out, log back in. And especially if you're getting problems with the Files app in particular. So if you're familiar with the Files app here in iOS or iPadOS, or we'll bring it up over here, you'll know that you've got 2 different locations. You've got on my iPad and you've got your iCloud drive. And sometimes you're trying to load something from the iCloud drive and it says, oh, this file format can't be supported. This file is corrupt and will never be right again. Sometimes it's just having a little kitten. And if you just log out of that and then log back in, you'll be good to go. So turn it off and on, log out and log back in. Number 3 is to close all your apps. So sometimes you've got a background app that's running that is taking over, especially when it comes to audio issues. And the best thing to do, so you can see here, I've just been playing around and I've got GarageBand, Final Touch, App Store, Files, and Settings. Now, sometimes GarageBand and Final Touch, they don't play nice together because one Final Touch has grabbed the audio. So say Final Touch has jumped in here and it's grabbed the audio, and it's grabbed the Steinberg UR22C that I've got plugged in there, and then I go back to GarageBand, and let's just say I've got no sound. Well, sometimes it's just as simple as closing down all the apps in your background. So all you need to do is drag up from the bottom, drag up again, and get to this screen. It's a double tap on your button. If you're on other things, it's a drag. This is a problem. Different devices have different ways to do this, but get to this screen. I'm sure you know how to, and then just flick up on each of these. Boom, 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 boom. Get yourself back to this level, and then from here, you can load up your Peppa Pig app. Like so. I don't know why I have Peppa Pig on here. Children, that's why. But yeah, you can just go and then reload your apps. And then you know that this app is the only one running. It's not using any background apps. It's not doing anything else. And you should have everything going fine and dandy. So number 3, close all your apps. Number 4 is a GarageBand iOS specific thing, and it's to reset GarageBand. This is something that fixes the problem of, well, it fixes a lot of problems actually. It can fix some of your corruption issues, it can fix some of your file issues, but it'll especially fix where you've loaded a project, and say every time you load into GarageBand, if it keeps trying to load a project that's corrupt, it's simply not going to load. So you need to do something about that. Or you get a black screen. So if you load up GarageBand, you get a black screen and you just have to close it and it won't ever work. You want to reset GarageBand. Thankfully, to do that, this is where having the separate settings is handy, because to do that, you can actually jump into your settings app here. You can scroll down and find GarageBand in your list of apps, like so, and tap on that one. And then you'll notice that there's this option down the bottom here, Reset GarageBand. So it says Reset GarageBand back to its original settings and restores all sound samples. Sounds a bit scary, but it doesn't do anything to any of your projects. So it won't actually change that. It will change some of your defaults. So like your 24-bit audio, you might have to change. Some of these other little settings that are in your advanced settings, you might have to change. And just to show you how not scary it is, gulp, we're going to do it for you here now. So if I tap on Reset GarageBand, all I need to now do is close out of that Files app. And now that'll trigger that the next time I open GarageBand, it is going to go back. Now again, before you do this, the one thing I will say is make sure that all of your GarageBand files are backed up or that they're on your iCloud drive. So you know how we talked about before with files? If you've got anything stored here, it doesn't get rid of it. So you can see that funk my brass there. It won't get rid of that. But some people have claimed that it does to them when they do this. So just keep that in mind. I would always use your location, your GarageBand iOS on your iPad, on my iPad location. But let's be brave now and click GarageBand and let's see what happens. There you go. Welcome to GarageBand. You can do all the things. And if we come in here, yeah, there's our GarageBand sound library. Everything is cool. We can even go, as I said, on my iPad. There's my funk, my brass. It's all going to be good to go. But what I may find is up here in some of, say, my advanced settings, yeah, look at that, 24-bit audio resolution. So make sure that if you ever do your reset GarageBand, come straight back here to your advanced settings. Always put 24-bit audio on and turn run in background on. I normally have that on there. Yep, so we can run that app in the background. By the way, if you are having problems, turn that off. If you're having that problem with the conflicting audio between devices, make sure you don't have run in background on, because that can be another troubleshooting tip there. But I like run in background on, so we can save that one there. That's your reset GarageBand. The final thing that you may want to do, and this is controversial, because sometimes it can do the opposite of what you want to do, and that is to update your iOS. So if you go into the settings here and you go to General and you go to Software Update, you'll notice here that because I'm stuck in the past, I'm on iPadOS 15.7, whereas the latest update is iPadOS 16.1.1. In fact, I'm not even updated to 15.7.1, which I should be, because that's an additional security. So I'm living on the edge in a big way here. I'm going to update that immediately after the show, before anyone decides to come and hack my iPad. So yeah, updating to the latest iOS is good. It can also be bad in that it will sort of make some incompatibility with some apps. So my advice remains, Don't update. If you've got the latest secured version of the last one, so say iOS 15, give it at least a few weeks. Let other people be the guinea pig before you go and decide that you're going to go to the latest and greatest. And then once everything's cool, usually it's the point one. So at the moment, it's iPadOS and iOS 16.1.1. That's usually about your safest bet, to wait for that point one update, and then you'll be good to go. So there you go. There's 5 things you can do. You can turn it off and on. You can log out and log back into your iCloud. You can also close and reopen all of your apps. You can reset GarageBand, and you can update your iOS or your iPadOS. And most of those are the same on a Mac or a PC. These are pretty generic kind of things that you can do that will help you get out of trouble when things aren't going your way. So hopefully that helps you out. I don't think you can, Pete. I tried to update, was only offered iOS 16. Really? Well, let's do this live. Do I need to use my... Oh, no, I do. We'll do it at the end. Well, actually, it won't work because it'll have to download first anyway. Maybe I'll keep the thing going on and we'll just do it. Hello, James Antoine, by the way. Hello, Dr. Zorders. Yeah, if you would like to hit the thumbs up, that does help out. That does tell the little YouTube robots to go and tell all the other YouTube robots to come and watch the show. Yeah, the iCloud one is definitely one that crops up a lot. And again, the amount of times, it's just something weird. It just kind of gets caught in this weird software loop. So sometimes just logging out of your Apple account everywhere and then logging back in. It's why I know my Apple login and ID better than anything, because I'm logging out and logging back into devices all the time. Hello, Coles Acre. Good to see you too. Absolutely. All right, so that was our feature topic. I wanted to have a quick rant, but obviously I do need to have a drink first. So I wanted to have a rant here. This is going to be not really GarageBand related, but I've decided, I mentioned this recently, and it seems to be resonating with folks, but I wish you courage and resilience. And in the last week, I was thinking about things, and people have been very nice, and they've been saying, "Oh, I'm sorry that you're sick, and I hope you get better soon." And that's all cool. And I've realised that thoughts and prayers are lovely, but courage and resilience are actually the most important things. And what I mean by that is, courage just means having the ability to keep going and to do things and to be brave. And braveness doesn't mean the old version of, "Oh, I'm so brave, I'm manly, I can destroy anything, I'm not going to cry, real men don't cry." No, braveness just means the ability to actually front up and to keep going and kick through when things are getting tough. And resilience is the second part of that, is the ability to bounce back afterwards. So to realize that you can have your vulnerable moments, you can dig deep and you can find that courage, and then you can actually be resilient and bounce back from pretty much anything. And the way you can do that is through community, and it's through people, and it's through your own self-care. And I like to think it's through music as well. I like to think it. And the story, the reason I wanted to bring this up this week is that I made a little guitar piece this week because I was feeling super frustrated. It was day 3 of my my inconvenience, as Jade likes to call it. And on day 3 of my inconvenience, I was feeling so frustrated. I was, woe is me. I was like, oh, this is BS. Like, I can't believe it. I blamed all the people. I blamed all the anti-vaxxers and all the non-mask wearers that have been walking around being complacent for the last 2 years. I blamed all of them because I'm still the dude that's walking around. Every time I'm inside, I'm all masked up. And so I'm just like, how dare they, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you know what? I need to chill out. For starters, I need to relax because this is not good for me. And I need to just chill out and I need to do some music, because I need to take my own advice. What would I tell someone who was in this same situation? I would say, A, I wish you courage and resilience, and B, why not make some music? And so, I just sat down with an acoustic guitar. Again, feeling super frustrated, totally didn't want to do it, was totally pushing against the grain with this stuff. But I sat down with my acoustic, and I just thought, what's going to come out and what will play? And I recorded a little guitar. So I recorded a little chord progression. A little bit of this, just a nice little sad kind of sound there. And then I'm like, I need to noodle over the top of this. I want to play like a sad, like cowboy song. I want to drown my sorrows in this song, so I added this in. And then I'm like, oh, it needs a call and answer here. So I added in another guitar here. So after about 30 minutes, I had this little piece and I felt so much better. And I thought to myself, this is what music can do. Like, just the calming effect of completely taking my mind off of my frustration and off of everything else and just creating something that I could just sit back and listen to. And will this turn into something? Maybe, maybe not. Does it matter? No. Part still. And now, again, I can look back on that. So that'll be my COVID piece. So whatever happens now, I know that, and it'll make me think back to that. It'll make me think that as bad as things were and as bad as I felt, I could create something, and you could create some positivity out of the negativity that I was feeling at the time. So, yeah, I just wanted to show that I try to practice what I preach, and I say that all the time. I'm like, music can be the great healer. When you're feeling crap, it can make you feel okay. When you're feeling okay, it makes you feel good. When you're feeling good, it makes you feel great. And I was feeling about as crap as I've felt in a long time, and it made me feel okay. Music was the healer. So there you go. Thank you, Fat Panda Cat. Yeah, I definitely want to expand on it, because I think it's got a nice little melody there. And turn it into a complete piece of music might be a way to go. I know I'm hearing like some violins, like some sad violins, and maybe even like some piano chords. Ding, 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 ding. I don't know. But yeah, so that was my rant of the week. All right. What have we got? We're going to be going over time, no doubt, here, because we kind of always do. If you do have any final questions that I haven't got to or haven't answered, please throw them here and put a Q in front of them, and I'll definitely try and answer anything else that you have there. Alrighty. Hello to Frank Terzo. Hello to you. Just making sure we say hello to everybody who is here. So do throw that in there if you would like to. Alrighty. What have I got here? The plugin. Yeah. So the plugin of the week. Before I did that little piece there, the plugin that I used here was the Nembrini tuner. Now, I've used a whole bunch of different. Excuse me. I've used a whole bunch of different tuners in iPadOS and iOS for a long time, but this one is definitely the best. And it is just simple. You can see there it's trying to work out what's going on at the moment. It's jumping around there. It's a really simple tuner, but it does the job. And whenever I'm setting up to play my happy hour, or I'm setting up to record in GarageBand, this works a treat. Why I love it is that if you've got nothing plugged in, it just uses your iPad mic, and it does a really good job. As you can see there, when you play your note, it just lines it up there. We're going to plug in and show you how it all works, because here in the options, this is actually the coolest part of this. If you go here to your audio and MIDI settings, you can see here that I've actually got this set up to just use the channel 2 of my Steinberg UR22C for both its output and input channels. So that means that I've got my guitar plugged into there. I could actually just use that one. And this is actually kind of cool too, because this is a free app, but it actually shows you a nice little matrix, and you can actually test what's actually working of your different things. So you can drop this down, you can go like your iOS audio there, and if I don't have this plugged in, I can't. If you unplug it, it'll just say built-in audio. It'll say built-in microphone. I can't do that because I'm also using the same adapter to plug in my HDMI adapter. But if I grab my guitar, which I have here, and I have already plugged into the second adapter there, the second plug, it just gives you a really clear idea of where you are when it works. All right, we've unplugged and replugged so many times. So what did we say before in the troubleshooting? One of the things that you can do, if you can't turn it off and turn it back on again, if you unplug and replug, you'll often be able to get things working. So we'll do two of the things we said there. We'll unplug and replug. We'll close all the apps, and then we'll reopen, and we'll get this one working, shall we? All right. There it is. And the cool thing about this is you can see there that you not only get the green, but if you're pedantic like me, like you could just tune up really quickly and just go, all right, they're all right in the green there. So if you need a quick tune, from a distance, you can do that and get everything ballpark. But what a lot of the apps do, especially free tuner apps, what they don't do is give you the sense. So you can see there in the top right corner that every time I'm playing a string, even though it's in the green there, it's showing. And it goes around a little bit because that's just how notes work, right? So when you play a note, it'll sit there and it kind of varies a little bit. So what I tend to find is I'll play a note with this one, just bring it up a little tiny bit and try and find where. See, that's too high now because it's seeing it's plus 3 cents there. So we'll just drop it down a little. Now it's slightly under. So this is where you can get really pedantic. And as soon as you get a point like that, where you see how it's hovering between -1 and +1, that's kind of the sweet spot that I go for. So when I'm tuning up for like the happy hour, or for when I'm playing live, or when I'm recording especially, this is just a great thing to do. So yeah, you've got tuners within GarageBand, you've got other apps, but I tend to just go with something. And once I find something I like, I stick with it. And the Nembrini Audio, the NA tuner, is free. And you can just throw it on your iPad and then be good to go. And it's also iPhone compatible too. So if you're on the go with an iPhone, you can use the Nembrini Audio tuner plugin. Definitely worth a look if you haven't already checked it out. And if you are a guitar player. All right, I use the GarageBand Mac tuner regularly. It's right there where I'm recording. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. You can. It's only because I'm pedantic, and especially when I'm doing a live show and I listen to it afterwards, and I'm like, oh man, I hated how that G string was just slightly flat the whole way through. So I'll normally sit down beforehand and just make sure that my strings are as close to perfection as possible. Yeah, it's kind of nice. It kind of works well. Alrighty. Excuse me. Let's go to our next section. Oh, the New York Rangers are about to start, so that means that I should be about to finish my show. So last week we showed this real quick, and I thought I would show it again as a really quick tip here on the iPad. And that is with your sections in GarageBand, if you're using multiple sections, so if we come in here and we add a couple of sections, there's a bit of a trap here, and that is that when you add a section, if you come back out here, it's only going to show that section. If you want to make sure all your sections are being displayed at once, if you tap in the top right corner on the plus button here and tap on all sections, then tap out, this will display everything that you need. So if you've got multiple sections and you're finding that you're only seeing just the one section, it's probably because your visibility is only on that section. So hit your plus button, go to your all sections, and then you'll be able to see everything. We covered this briefly last week because Rena asked for it, and I just thought I'd show it again here today because it's a very simple thing, but it's one of those GarageBand things. This little plus button is the worst design feature in GarageBand history because you've got your sections here, and you can't get to this. And the amount of people at the very start that start using GarageBand, and they come in here and they go, create song. All right, keyboard. And they're like, I'm going to record myself an amazing keyboard song. And they're like, I'm gonna record all the notes and all the bars. And they're like, stop it. And then they're like, cool, all right, I'm ready to rock and roll. And they come out here and they're like, oh no, why have I only got 8 bars? How do I record more than 8 bars? And it's so not intuitive to go, oh, well, of course what you do is you hit the plus button up here and then you grab your section and then you either make it automatic or you grab this and you drag it up and you give yourself a whole bunch of room. Like, none of that is intuitive. But unfortunately, that's where our GarageBand have decided to plonk the feature to add additional time. So I was talking, it's a good segue actually, I was talking with Lidge Shaw, who is an amazing studio owner, content creator, just all-round mixer, master, engineer, just does everything. And yeah, he's coming on the show soon. And when he first started using GarageBand, he's like, "Oh, I really like GarageBand. It's good for like getting down ideas for loops and things. Would be much better if you could do more than 8 bars. I can't figure out how to do that." And I'm like, "Man, yeah, that's poor user interface design. If someone like Lidge, who's a super smart dude, can't work out how to do it." And for the longest time, it was what stopped me getting into GarageBand iOS for the longest time because I couldn't work it out either. I know. Apple, it's so weird. Apple do amazingly well, and then they do amazingly poorly. It's yeah, it's weird. This is the show that's coming up. Not for another few weeks yet, but this is Lidge. We're going to do a special 2-hour extravaganza here. I'll throw the link over in the chat for you now. So if you want to join us for that one, but it'll be on the 16th of December here, which means it'll be the 15th of December in the evening. It'll be a Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, or a Friday morning, depending where you are in the world. And I'll be chatting with the one and only Lidge Shaw from Recording Studio Rockstars. And go and check out the podcast. Like, if you want to hear from amazing producers and engineers and recording artists and just amazing people, Recording Studio Rockstars is the name of the podcast. You can get it at all of your favorite podcast places. But yeah, it'll be fabulous. Last time we had Lidge on the show, we were getting so many questions. We got to the end of the 1 hour and there was like 20 questions piled up. And I'm like, Lidge, next time you need to come on the show, we need to have 2 hours so that we can do that. And look at that, you're gonna get a major double header because you got Jade Starr with Billy Gould as her guest on that week. So it's gonna be a big day. It's gonna be a big day for our community here with some cool live shows going on there. So get your really tricky questions ready for Mr. Lidge Shaw, because that one's definitely going to be a good old time. Let's see, where have we at? Yeah, we're there. So the only thing left to tell you folks is that the resource of the week, as it is each and every week, is the Studio Live Today GarageBand iOS FAQ. So once again, please do go over to here because I get lots of questions here. In fact, I'll give a shout out to a user this week that got in touch via email. They had tried finding answers. They'd been through my videos and I didn't have a specific solution to their problem. But they'd been here and they'd been through a lot of the videos and it gave them a reference. It gave them a starting point. So they said, Pete, in this video, so they came here and found a video. In this video, you said this and this and this. I've tried all of that and it didn't work. What now? So I'm absolutely always happy to answer emails and get questions through email and do the best I can. But if you can do me a favor, that previous Pete, the computer brain Pete, usually has the answers in here. So if you've got a GarageBand question in particular or a question about mobile recording, jump into here because you're probably going to find it. And the other way to do it is to just go to YouTube. So if you're saying, oh, how do I connect up a USB iPad? So you'd go Pete Johns USB-C iPad Connect. And this is going to find a lot of videos that are going to tell you exactly what you need to do. So you're like, oh, okay, that's how to connect a USB-C to USB, how to connect devices. So that's going to give you the answer. I'll let you know the issue because I wanted to share it here in case other people have it. And we're talking about iPadOS and iPadOS 16. So this particular user had just updated from an iPad to an iPad Pro. They got it out of the box with iPadOS 16. Great, excellent, but it was 16.0. And they went to hook up the same gear that they were hooking up through their Lightning to USB-C adapter via a USB-C to C adapter, and it just didn't work. They had a Focusrite 4i4, and it was not showing any of the inputs. And they'd been to Focusrite, they came to me, I gave a few ideas and tips, and then it was just last night it dawned on me. I was thinking, hang on a minute, if you got a new iPad, maybe it's running a 16.0 that had a bunch of bugs, and maybe one of the bugs was audio interfaces not showing the correct number of inputs. So I said, hey, out of interest, jump in and try to update your iPadOS to 16.1.1. Did it, like magic, all works. So, and it kind of inspired me to do the troubleshooting tips here today to say that, look, that's one of the things. Turn it off and on, log out, log back in, close all your apps, reset, and also update the iOS can actually help you out. That's right. Prior Pete's got it covered. I know. I would trust robot me a lot more than human me, especially in my current condition. I know a lot. I knew a lot more in the past than I know in the future. I know, Princess. What's going on? You got no questions. I don't like it. It's not. It's a bit weird to see Princess in the chat without any questions. But yeah, there you go. You can check out the GarageBand FAQ at studiolive today.com/GarageBand. Now, is Rock and Ronnie Ward on today? Let's see, because I haven't caught a Ron Ward show for a while. And I want to check it. Yeah, he is. Look, he's live in just under an hour's time. So you can jump on over. What's he doing today? You never quite know. All you need is Ron Ready, apparently. There you go. All you need is Ron Ready. Ba-ba-da-da-da. So you can do that. Boom. And I'll put that in the link in the chat there for you to jump on over to check out Ron there. So love songs, an all love song edition of Rockin' Ronnie Ward. There you go. Do I have any love songs? I don't think so. Maybe I'll have to find one. I'll find something. I'll write a quick ditty to Ron. I love Ronnie Ward. Put another merch in the cart and buy it. Maybe. No. All right, it's time to go because clearly, based on that, it's time to go. Thanks, everyone, for being here. As we say at the end of every show, please be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and keep creating. I will see you around the channel during the week, and back next weekend, I'll be hopefully 100% fully fit, ready to rock and roll with more live shows here on Studio Live today. Until then, take it easy, folks. Bye for now.